I felt it was time for an honest conversation about marketing. So let's talk about your marketing. And if you're sitting there going, my marketing sucks and it's not working, or you're burning yourself out creating so much content but seeing very little reward or return from it, you're not seeing any consistent sales, and you're just really frustrated, well, I'm so happy that you're here. And first and foremost, let's just get this out of the way. It's not you, it's your messaging. So I talked about this briefly in last week's video, but the reality is there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing even maybe wrong with your business. There's something wrong with the fundamentals of growing a successful business, but the easiest thing to blame is usually marketing, but so many things have to come before your marketing actually works, converts, and lands with the right people who then want to buy from you, work with you, etc. So let's just quickly review the fundamentals and the first principles, which essentially are the building blocks that can be repeated and duplicated with any business. If you don't have these 7 things, you simply don't have the structure of a business that can grow. So first and foremost, you have to have something to sell, so an offer. From there, you have to know your ideal client inside and out and who you're actually trying to serve so you can find them and reach them. Then from there, you need to dial in your messaging, which really is your marketing. From there, you need to know how to generate leads and traffic, and then turn those into sales. And once you have those 5 things dialed in, then you can start building out a team and operations to scale. I went in depth on your offer and your ideal client in last week's video, and this really is a follow-up to last week's video, so I will link to that right here and in the description below for you to check out next so you can get the full picture of how to really make sure that your business is set up for success and continued consistent growth. But in this video, we're really gonna focus on the messaging, marketing aspect. And here's the reality, marketing has changed so much in the last couple of years particularly, and the things that used to work, they just don't work as well as they used to. So I wanted to share the concepts and the tactics that I have noticed aren't really working anymore and what they've been replaced with. And I know this is gonna help you identify how you can make your marketing suck less and perform better. So let's get into what I'm gonna talk about in this video. Number 1, scarcity marketing versus scalable marketing. Number 2, symptoms of scarcity marketing. Number 3, the false scarcity of diversification. Number 4, the ugly truth of the launch model. And number 5, what actually makes people buy. The entire mission of this channel is to make entrepreneurship available to everyone. A small thing you can do to support my mission is to hit that like button and subscribe for new videos every single week. If you aren't aware, I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs turn their skill set and expertise into highly scalable and impactful online course businesses. And what I have learned in the long time that I've been doing this is that marketing can actually kill your business if it isn't done right. That's why this is so important for me to share with you. So the first thing I want to talk about is scarcity versus scalable marketing. And this concept alone is going to make a huge difference in how you approach the messaging you're putting out there and who you're putting it out there for. So before I dig into it, I want to share a side-by-side contrast of what each of these actually looks like. Scarcity marketing makes you think you have to be on every platform and in front of an audience at all times in order to grow a business. It diversifies your energy, attention, and time until you're split in way too many directions and nothing is actually moving the needle forward in your business, even though you're busier than ever. Scarcity marketing is also reliant on big surges or launches in order to generate clients. Scarcity marketing also creates a false sense of urgency and is based off of reactivity. Scarcity marketing is what we call push marketing because you exhaust yourself pushing your messaging at as many people as you can, hoping to see a fraction of that audience actually turn into clients and customers. Scarcity marketing relies on trends and shiny new tactics, and scarcity marketing means you are spending all of your time trying to figure out a bunch of different algorithms instead of doing the simple activities that lead to generating new paying clients. Now, scalable marketing is pull marketing. It's magnetic, it's intentional, and it's easy. We like to think of this as pulling your audience in by being hyper clear on who you're attracting, and it requires focusing on one thing instead of 10. Scalable marketing relies on simple and repeatable tactics to generate consistent clients with less time, effort, and resources. And scalable marketing means you do more with less by focusing on your one core platform and combining that with email marketing. I know I'm more of a visual learner, so I wanted to share this with you to kind of depict what it actually looks like when you're doing scarcity marketing versus scalable marketing. So scarcity marketing, you can see, diversifies your energy and attention in all these different directions, whereas scalable marketing is simple and it helps you focus on really your most effective and efficient methods for turning people on the internet, strangers on the internet, into actual customers for your business. So it streamlines your effort into one scalable mode as opposed to diversifying your effort and energy into all of these different ideas, which creates linear growth and keeps you plateaued as opposed to allowing you to grow and scale upwards. Does that make sense? Now let's talk about the symptoms of scarcity marketing. So scarcity marketing is really built on a shaky foundation in your business, as I mentioned earlier. If you aren't clear on what your offer is and who your ideal client is, you simply don't know who you're speaking to. And so you're speaking in very broad terms, which attracts a broad audience of people who aren't really in a position to know what you do or actually want to work with you or pay you for your zone of genius or for whatever it is that you are selling. And if you don't know who you're serving, it's really hard to create messaging and content and create marketing that lands with the people who need to see it most. And so it leads you into this place of just yelling louder and creating more content and being on more platforms, hoping that someone someday is gonna hear it and actually turn into a client. So there are two key factors to doing a lot less, but actually getting way more clients and consistency for your business without needing a big audience at all, because every single algorithm works the exact same way. You need to feed the algorithms, regardless of the platforms, with two key pieces of information with every piece of content that you put out. Who are you trying to serve? And what do you want to be known for? If your content doesn't match those two key factors, you're actually hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself, because the algorithm doesn't know who you're trying to reach. And you have to remember, you're dealing with robots here. If they don't know who you're trying to reach or what you want to be known for, they don't know how to help you grow. And every single social media platform has internal traffic sources where, when they know those two key factors of who and what, they then will leverage their internal traffic sources to reach more people just like that and help you grow, as opposed to you having to put in all of the effort. So it becomes super intentional what you're putting out there. And because you're so intentional, you then have the algorithm working in your favor to reach more of those people. Pretty clear, right? So it's not about creating complexity or doing all of the new shiny things out there. It's really about knowing who you're serving and what you want to be known for, and making sure your content reflects that. So now let's talk about the false scarcity of diversification, because this is a very common trap and pitfall that a lot of people fall into, because we're told that the more places we are, the more people are going to see us. When in reality, if you are trying to be on every single platform there is, what you're doing is you're feeding the algorithms on all those different platforms with a slow and steady approach. And you're not making much headway or feeding enough information to really be able to grow. So you kind of grow them all like this. They're all really slowly growing. As opposed to, you put all of your energy, time, attention, and effort into one platform. It's gonna grow and reach the right people and feed the algorithm with right information to help you reach even more of those people in a much more efficient way. So less time, better results. And the reality of diversification is not meaning you have to be everywhere to be seen. It means having one core platform, and then from there, leveraging that platform to grow an email list, because an email list is your greatest asset online, because it's the only thing that you actually own. Everything else, every social media platform, the algorithms change. You don't ever own the platform or your account. Things happen. Accounts get shut down. I've had that happen to clients in the past, and it's a true nightmare. But if you have an email list plus one core platform, you're simultaneously growing them, because this one core platform is feeding your email list. Simply put, with my YouTube videos, I drive my YouTube viewers to become a part of my email list so that I can further connect with you there. And when you do that, you are diversifying and creating a security blanket And if something were to happen, you have your email list to fall back on and say, hey, I've started a new account on this other platform. Go check me out and follow me there. And because they're loyal to you, you've been communicating with them and building a relationship with them via email, you are absolutely going to be able to drive traffic to whatever platform you then want to focus on. But the whole purpose of this is that unfortunately, there's a lot of noise out there that if you're just everywhere somebody could be looking for you, you're going to have a more successful business. But the reality of a business is what I mentioned earlier. Do you have a clear offer that you can sell? Do you know who your ideal client is and where to find them? Do you have clear messaging, a way to get leads, sales, build out a team, and generate, essentially operations for your business when necessary? Those are the building blocks. A massive audience is not part of those building blocks. And to further hone in on that point, I talked about this in detail in last week's video, but there's something that you need to consider, which is necessary numbers, because we get so caught up in vanity metrics that you're never going to be able to take to the bank that you forget about your necessary numbers as a business owner. And your necessary numbers as a business owner are simply understanding how many leads do you need on a monthly basis to generate the consistent income that you're looking for. So the example I gave last week was, let's say you have a $2,500 offer and you want to make $10K a month. So that would mean 4 clients per month. If you want to get 4 clients per month, you need to have 20 conversations with people, with leads, so 20 leads, in order to convert 4 paying clients. That's based on an industry standard of 20% as a conversion rate. So grasping at vanity metrics does not mean you're building a bigger or better business, because you're focused on strangers on the internet more than you're focused on actually serving at the highest level with the people who need you most. And that is not millions of people. That is the core group of humans who are out there right now waiting for you to strike up a conversation. That doesn't require a funnel. That doesn't require a webinar. It simply requires having a conversation and getting in touch with them, which there are so many ways to do on the internet. Now, if you're familiar with the online space, you definitely know what a launch model is in a business. And full transparency, I have done launches in the past, but I haven't done one for a very really long time. I think it's been well over 4 or 5 years since I've done a launch in my business. And I essentially committed to not doing them again. And this is because I really do believe that I saw the ugly truth of the launch model for myself. And it just didn't align with how I want to operate in my business. Simply put, because it really created a ton of stress that I didn't think was necessary. And the biggest thing that it created was a lack of consistency, because with a launch model, which if you're unfamiliar with what that is, a launch model of a business means that you wait until one time of the year for let's say a 2-week period. And that's the only time during that 2 weeks that you're gonna sell your product or service. So you need to get as many people in the door as possible during that time. And so it puts all this pressure for it to work because you're not selling any other time of the year. That level of stress, if it doesn't work out, is really daunting for any entrepreneur. And I'm just not built to handle it. So I was committed and determined to creating a business model that was going to be truly consistent and evergreen without having to do launches. And we've been able to do that really successfully. And then we're now doing, $500,000 a month in my business without doing launches. And of course, we started that from zero, but we know our numbers so well inside and out that we're able to duplicate our numbers and duplicate our revenue and profit every month without a lot of guesswork or questioning. And the unfortunate part about launches and the ugly truth behind it is that it often relies on a warm audience. Of course, there are times when you're going to have a cold audience as well, which means people who don't know you and you need to then convert them into paying clients. But it also relies very heavily on a warm audience, so people who already know, like, and trust you. So oftentimes you'll need an audience in order to have a successful launch, which a lot of entrepreneurs don't have an audience. And so that creates a barrier to entry right there. In addition to that, when people do know, like, and trust you, sometimes they're just gonna buy because they like you, not because they're the right clients. Then ultimately it kind of kills you because people are investing in your program but not actually doing the work and not seeing results. And therefore you don't have a ton of social proof to show for it. In addition to the big factor of why launches can be a big struggle is that they create a big sense of urgency and pressure for people to buy. And so it can create this sort of reactive buyer's decision, which then leads to buyer's remorse and a ton of refund requests, because people are buying off of emotion as opposed to buying because they truly know that they're invested and they're ready for this transformation and solution that your product, service, or offer is providing. And the other issue is that when you do a model like this and you're solely relying on the audience that maybe you've already built, you haven't actually set yourself up or equipped yourself as the business owner to know how to find new leads. And sometimes you can burn out your audience who does know, like, and trust you because you're constantly trying to just launch to them and they've heard the same offer so many times that they're no longer interested in buying. So you have to, as a business owner, have a way to find new cold leads and convert them. That is really the true test of a business. Now, the final thing, which is really important, is understanding what actually makes people buy. And this goes hand in hand with what I was just saying. So there are two real motivators behind why people buy anything. It's either internal motivation or external motivation. And you want to focus on internal. So what's the difference? Internal motivation is a deep-rooted need and accountability for that person to know that they need this transformation, they need what you're selling in order to get the result that they're seeking. And how you really identify that and get the right clients in the door is understanding who is your ideal client specifically, where are they at specifically on their journey where they're most ready and willing to make this decision for themselves so you don't have to push them into it, and what is the outcome and transformation that you're giving to them, and is your product or service aligning with what they're desiring? And if it is, then that's a perfect match and that's a perfect client relationship. The external motivators, in complete contrast, are things like creating a massive sense of urgency. So saying, if you don't buy right now, you're not gonna be able to buy again for a year, or you're never gonna be able to buy again. So kind of like the doors closing mentality creates this huge sense of pressure. And then peer pressure comes into play as well, because if they see all these other people buying and they're all buying right now because the doors are gonna close, then they're gonna make a reactive decision to also buy. Discounts can also create an external motivator because they just want a deal. They don't really want the value of what you're selling, so they focus more on the price and the cost versus the value. And the final piece, which is something that I think takes time to really understand and learn, and I've definitely learned it over the last, however many years, is that another external motivating factor that people don't often consider is that people are bought more into you as a brand, a persona, or an influencer than they are the results that you're providing by them actually doing the work. And so there's a lack of accountability because they think if they just buy from you, they're magically gonna get results without actually doing the work. So it's kind of a weird one, but you may be able to relate to that. So you kind of want to think of external motivating factors as like a Black Friday sale. If you've ever seen a Black Friday sale, it's all this like pressure cooker energy and urgency to get in the door and get the things and buy all the stuff. And then you leave and you go, did I really need to buy all that? You don't want your clients being left with that thought process. At the core of any business and the truth behind good marketing is really these three factors: one ideal client, clear messaging, a very obvious conversion site to go from lead to actual paying client, that equals consistent sales. So when you start focusing more on platforms and growing an audience and vanity metrics, you're actually creating more friction between creating the impact that you're here to create and what you've actually made to create that impact. So you're creating friction between your offer and the clients who need you most and the leads who need you most in the world, because all of the vanity metrics in the world don't add up to getting the right people in the door that you can truly have an impact on. So I want to challenge you, and feel free to share in the comments below, who specifically are you serving and what do you want to be known for? And can you create content that truly reflects that? And more importantly, have you been creating content that truly reflects that? You want to think about it in this way: the more broad and surface level you are, the more friction you're creating in actually getting people to work with you and create the impact you want to have. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope it was illuminating. And I have this video that I highly encourage you to check out next with the 5 obvious reasons that your business isn't growing. It's the perfect complement to this, so be sure to check it out. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.